A senior Federal Reserve official confirmed in early January that the upcoming National Jobs Report will play a meaningful role in shaping economic policy discussions moving forward, including conversations around household financial stability and potential relief measures. That confirmation matters because it signals that January 9th is not just another routine calendar date. It is a data point that policymakers across Washington are watching closely as they assess economic pressure building beneath the surface. January 9th may look ordinary at first glance, but the information released on that day could influence how leaders interpret the current direction of the economy. Many Americans, especially seniors living on fixed incomes, are experiencing ongoing uncertainty. Prices remain elevated. Purchasing power feels weaker than it did just a few years ago, and there is no clear signal about whether additional relief will ever be considered again. That uncertainty weighs heavily, particularly on those who no longer have the flexibility to increase income through work. This discussion is not about creating fear or encouraging unrealistic expectations. It is about understanding why January 9th is being mentioned, what it realistically represents, and what it does not mean. Clear, grounded information is essential when financial stability already feels fragile. Confusion and exaggerated claims only add stress to a situation that already demands caution. January 9th is the scheduled release date for the December National Jobs Report. This report provides details on how many jobs were added or lost, changes in the unemployment rate, and broader hiring trends across the economy. Because of holiday scheduling and reporting timelines, this release arrives later than usual, which naturally draws more attention from policymakers, analysts, and financial institutions. For decision-makers, jobs data is one of the most reliable indicators of economic health. When employment remains strong and hiring continues, there is typically less urgency to intervene. When job growth slows or unemployment rises, discussions around economic support tend to become more serious. This does not automatically lead to action, but it changes the tone and priority of internal conversations. Seniors are affected by these shifts even if they are no longer part of the workforce. A weakening job market can signal slower economic growth overall. That slowdown can influence investment returns, state and local budgets, healthcare systems, insurance costs, and community services. These effects are rarely dramatic at first. Instead, they appear gradually through higher out-of-pocket expenses and reduced financial flexibility. January 9th matters because it offers a clearer snapshot of where conditions stand at the end of the year. It is not political messaging, and it is not speculation. It is raw data. That data does not create policy on its own, but it often acts as an early warning signal that pressure is increasing or easing. It is important to maintain perspective. One report does not determine outcomes. A single month of data does not trigger relief programs by itself. Economic policy evolves over time, based on patterns, revisions, and broader trends. January 9th is one piece of that ongoing assessment, not a final verdict. Words like stimulus, rebates, and relief checks often trigger strong emotional reactions. Many seniors remember previous periods when help was promised, delayed, or ultimately reduced. Skepticism is understandable and in many cases healthy. Hope without evidence can lead to poor financial decisions. In practical terms, stimulus refers to government actions designed to stabilize the economy during periods of weakness. That support can take many forms and does not always involve direct payments. No individual outside of Congress and the executive branch can promise timing, structure, or approval. Claims made without formal confirmation should always be treated with caution. Because of this reality, financial decisions should never be made based on assumptions. Spending money in anticipation of relief that has not been approved can create lasting problems if expectations are not met. Caution protects stability. What does matter is recognizing historical patterns. Sustained economic weakness tends to bring more serious discussions about support. Strength usually quiets those conversations. January 9th contributes information that helps clarify which direction the trend may be moving. Over the past year, numerous proposals related to cost of living pressure have been discussed. Some were credible, others were symbolic. Most did not advance beyond early stages. This gap between discussion and implementation is where confusion often takes hold. Public statements do not equal policy. Proposals must move through committees, negotiations, funding debates, and final votes. Many ideas change significantly or fail entirely before reaching the public. Understanding this process helps manage expectations. Exaggerated claims undermine trust. Accurate context is far more valuable than optimistic or pessimistic extremes. Serious issues require measured discussion. January 9th should be viewed as an informational checkpoint. If the report shows stable employment and steady hiring, policymakers may feel less urgency to intervene. If it shows deterioration, pressure may increase behind the scenes. Neither outcome should prompt panic. December data also requires careful interpretation. Seasonal hiring patterns often distort results. Retail and logistics jobs added during the holidays are frequently temporary and may disappear in January. Revisions to earlier reports can sometimes reveal that trends were weaker or stronger than initially reported. Long-term patterns matter more than a single headline. For seniors, the most appropriate response is steady awareness. Stay informed, but avoid emotional reactions. Avoid making financial moves based on speculation or fear. There are practical safeguards worth reinforcing. Do not take on debt assuming new income will arrive. Review recurring expenses carefully and look for areas where small adjustments can reduce pressure. Preserve emergency savings whenever possible, even if that means postponing non-essential purchases. Remain alert to fraud. Periods of uncertainty often bring increased scam activity. Messages claiming guaranteed payments or urgent action requirements should be treated as red flags. Legitimate programs do not demand fees or personal information through unsolicited calls or messages. Financial uncertainty carries emotional weight. Money represents security, independence, and dignity. Many seniors quietly worry about becoming a burden, despite decades of contribution through work, taxes, and service. That concern reflects responsibility, not weakness. Living on a fixed income during periods of instability requires discipline and resilience. Acknowledging stress does not mean losing control. It means responding thoughtfully. As January 9th approaches, observation is more useful than prediction. Watch how leaders respond to the data. The language they use, the emphasis they place on risks or stability, and whether follow-up discussions intensify often reveal more than the numbers themselves. When verified policy changes occur, they deserve careful explanation. Until then, restraint is appropriate. Acting too quickly based on incomplete information often leads to regret. January 9th is not a turning point by itself. It is one data point in a longer process. Long-term stability depends on measured decisions, not isolated reports. Remaining calm and informed is a position of strength. Clarity protects peace of mind and reduces the risk of costly mistakes. When reliable information emerges, it should be addressed directly and honestly. Speculation should be set aside. If this explanation provided perspective and reduced uncertainty, then it has served its purpose. Serious matters deserve serious discussion, not exaggerated promises. Before concluding, consider this question. What financial lesson do you wish had been clearer earlier in life? Stay attentive, remain cautious, and remember that informed patience is often the most effective response to uncertainty.